Option Traders Inc. Hope you guys are having a great day. So let's get this ball rolling. What's going to happen with the stock market with the end of February now going into March? So let's have a look here about the ETFs and the sectors, about what's going on. So we're going to start with the S&P 500. Okay, so have a look at that. So this is a 50, this is a 100. So this is the buy and sell that I'm watching ratio. So I look for divergences on this. On the monthly time frame, I do see a RSI divergence, which is really big here. So it started actually in 18, working its way all the way down to now. So we can see a big correction here with S&P 500 and possible target coming to 360. If we see weakness in the market right now, there's geopolitical tensions. There is inflation, CPI data coming out. And then if we look at the monthly cycle here, we can see a lot of volume, some volume accumulated up here, but a lot more down here. So a lot of support I feel like is down here. So this is what the chart is telling us. But we'll see right now we're also having a MACD crossover to the downside. So the last time this MACD did crossover was here in 2020, then in 2018, and then we had a big one here in 2015, which was minor. And then a big one here in 2007. Okay, so these are the MACD crossovers. So we are getting indicators. So these are lagging indicators. They're not leading. What these indicators implied with what the market conditions are looking like, it does start to look a little bit bearish. Now, if we were to look at the bullish sentiment here, we could say, okay, the market has already corrected close to it's corrected close to about 10%. So once we have a 10% correction, we can start to see a bounce up here. But if we are going to see a bounce up, what we want to see here is we want to see a close above 458 and a retest and start to push up and test the 475 and keep going from there, right? So right now, not a lot of indication that the market is going to continue higher. There's a lot of uncertainty. We can definitely get sideways action, but so far right now, we'll see what happens. But this is S&P 500 closing at just a little bit above the 50-day EMA on the weekly time frame. All right, so let's look at the triple Qs here. Triple Qs overall, they're still looking weak, below the 50-day, touched the 100-day on the weekly time frame. So the last time they closed below the 50 was, as you guys can see, in 2020, and then we had it in 2018, and then they went further down from there as well, right? So we can see what's going to happen here, and maybe this could be a chance of reversal if we just look at the indicators here. If they go below the 50, go to a little bit below the 100 EMA and start to bounce. This touched the 100 EMA and started to bounce. Could be a sign for a possible reversal. Maybe it is an extended move. But if we look at the MACD is well below the starting to get below the zero line. The RSI is starting to turn a little bit here, but however, big bullish levels are still further away from the Qs. For example, we got 381 here that needs to be caught, and before that we have 370. Okay, so unless these levels are, unless the Qs come here and start pushing higher with momentum, we can definitely touch these levels and start to reverse to the downside. So it's not as easy as, okay, let's touch the level. No, we have to beat that level. We have to have buyers coming in, stocks have to start moving up. It's not as simple as beating it, right? So we have to kind of observe what happens with the Qs. IWM. All right, so monthly time frame on the IWM. It's interesting here. We have, a divergence to the downside on the buy and sell rates. We have more selling happening. It's starting to curve to the downside here. Could possibly touch the 50-day. That's where I see support right about here, around 177 for IWM, and see if this level does hold up. We do have as you guys can see, we do have a volume gap on the volume profile here. So we'll see how this matches up, and we have more big nodes right about here. So there could be more buying done in this area. So this is where IWM could stop and rest. But for now, MACD crossover here. We have the RSI coming down. So these are bullish indications. But overall, if we just roll into the weekly here, this is a long period of consolidation in this zone. So IWM simply just has to get to this level out around 210 or 209 and try to get above that, right? So if it can above that, it'll be back into its long-term consolidation. But for now, we have to wait for the levels to respect and meet their required entries. Dow Jones had a nice reversal on the weekly candle. On the monthly, it's just shaping up very nicely here as a technical pattern, a broadening formation here, and this could be interesting in the coming weeks about how this pans out. So if this breaks down, we could possibly go down to the 50-day. If this breaks out, we can make all-time highs. So technicals are telling us a story that price is trying to figure itself out. However, if I just scroll out here a little bit, we are seeing a divergence on the buy-sell rates here. So we had a divergence here as well, and that's when we had the sell-off, which led to this sell-off, and then you see how the rates went flat here. So now that's what I'm watching for. So this is going to take some time to pan out. Remember, it's a bigger time frame. Any analysis on bigger time frames do take time. So this right here, I'm watching the MACD. The MACD is crossing over as well. The 50 is fine so far. It's well below here. So this is where I see the max pain if it does come. And on the weekly, we are between the 50 and the 100, which is perfectly fine. Last time we were between that was right about here where we started to move up, or here we started to move up. So possible we can start to test a higher level here. We can possibly go and test the zone right about here, 347. We'll see if that does happen, but right now it's at a previous support zone, which is now resistance right here at 340. So we'll see what next week brings. Usually March is a bullish month, but we'll see what happens with Dow Jones. Okay, so energy is one sector I want to talk about. Energy, buy sell rates up, RSI is up, MACD starting to come from below the zero line, turning positive here, right? However, a downtrend line that was intact since 2014 has been broken. So possible we can consolidate here for a little bit. As long as 62 support can hold, we can possibly go and test the 80 zone here. 80 zone is the critical level for energy. If it can get above that, we can possibly go to 100. But right now, it's interesting to watch because long term, the stock is starting to look a little bit bullish. However, I wouldn't get too bullish on it until we see some sort of a retest and more confidence in energy, and to get above 79, 80, and then just to push to 100. So this could be a big play for 2022 and 2023. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, materials, they're starting to look, basic materials are starting to look a little bit like they're losing momentum here, okay? They are consolidating at the top level here. So I'm not too worried here about this, but this is a right angle broadening formation here for me. So when I see something like this, I'm like, okay, what are we going to do here, right? So it is consolidating in the zone. Volume profile looks weak right about here. So if it does break this, it's got some support at 70, and then it just keeps going lower from there. So we'll see how basic materials do in the coming weeks, right? So, and however, it's something to keep an eye on here. Our MACD is turning down, our side is flat, but this can turn on a whim. It is consolidating, so that could be the reason why MACD is kind of turning down. It's still above the zero line. Our side flat makes sense because the stock, this is consolidating this sector. So we'll see if they do break out. Levels to watch on the breakout would be 87 and then 90. Okay, and let's look at emerging markets, EEM. Okay, emerging markets were doing really well. Okay, and they looked like they were gonna have a multi-year breakout, but this is why I am keen on retests. Retests are very important. If retests fail, that tells the full story. Okay, so right now, as you guys can see here, emerging markets not looking the best for now. They are correcting a little bit. They have support at 46, bouncing from there, but this is the supply zone now. Okay, so supply zone needs to be checked here, and just kind of observe what happens and if we do pick up here. All right, so European markets here. European markets, same thing, just kind of coming down. They look like they were doing really well. They had a phenomenal push. It's coming back to test here, which is good if this test holds. But then again, European markets are down due to geopolitical tensions. So I want to be watching this level here. Okay, I want to see what happens in this zone. If this can push back to above 70, then the European markets are back in play. Other than that, it could consolidate here for quite some time, but we can see a huge volume here. So, we have a chance that this could push up, but the buy-sell rates are down right now. MACD is turning down, RSI is turning down, could be losing some momentum here, so we'll have to keep an eye on this. Right, so let's look at some other home builders. Home builders also look like they're losing momentum here, right? Sectors losing momentum for me. All right, so if this is losing momentum based on the buy-sell rates here, and also look at the RSI's turning, MACD's turning, and it's right now below its previous support here. Well, it's right at the previous support, and also same thing, it's making a right angle broadening formation here, and we have to wait and see what happens with this. Right, so levels to watch here would be 78 to see if we can get above that. If we can't, we have room to the downside. Right, we have room to the downside here. Okay, XLY consumer discretionary right here sector. MACD cross, RSI turning down, still above the 50 here. Buy sell rates, as you guys can see, that divergence on buy sell rates came a little bit early here, right? And then it started to turn afterwards. So I use this to look for divergences on a bigger time frame. So as you guys can see, we're at this level as well, and same thing here, broadening formation, and we're right here. So if this can get below 162, things will get really frothy for it. This is consumer discretionary. Otherwise, we should be fine. Okay, if we get a nice recovery, need to get above 190. If we can get above that 190 level, we should start to push up here. All right, so XLP, so consumer staples, they're okay right now. Their buy sell rates went down, starting to push up. But on a longer term, if we look back, this is a divergence starting from actually 2019. So this is something to keep an eye on, definitely. But MACD strong right now. RSI is flat. RSI is not moving up or down on the monthly. It's just straight up flat, right? So we'll see. This is interesting. I'm going to keep a closer eye on this, because if this starts to drop, that's a doji right there. If this starts to drop, it can drop really fast. Right, so we got these levels to watch here, the support levels between 68 and 72, and it needs to get above 78 to make a new high here. However, the trend right now is intact. The 50 separated from the 100 very nicely, and it's just moving, hasn't been impacted that much, even with the market correction. So we'll see how these stocks do, or the sector does in the coming weeks. Right, so let's look at another one here, XRT. This is the retail sector. So this does make sense that it's starting to take a bit of a hit with consumer sentiment kind of going down and all that, right? So if you see how the buy sell rates give us an early indication that what could possibly happen, right? So this was still in consolidation, and this is why I look at these rates right here. It does tell me that something possibly could happen, and it is happening right now. So while this was in consolidation, the stock, if this is starting to lose momentum, it could possibly come down. This is where the big buying was. So this candle or this time frame will be important to watch between 64 levels. So this area, if this loses this 63, 64 area, we're going to come back all the way down to 52. Okay, so we'll see what happens with this. Something to keep an eye on. MACD clear cross. It's looking bearish right now. So utilities are looking okay right now. MACD is still here, trying to cross the signal line here, but RSI is flat. Buy sell rates are flat, but they were giving a bearish indication right about here, and the stock is still moving up. So that's interesting to me. They gave a bearish indication here as well, where they went flat, and they started moving higher. So we'll have to see if this starts to turn a little bit to the downside. But so far, the utility sector is strong because it is defensive right now, right? So we'll have to keep an eye on this. So right now, it is forming an ascending triangle. So that's a positive sign that this sector can continue to outperform. Right, so we'll see momentum's on the upside. So as long as the supports hold up, like for example 63, and then we have support at 58. As long as these levels hold up and the trend line holds, trend lines can be adjusted, but as long as the support levels hold up and we break the 71, this can break out to some new highs here. Okay, so easily push up much higher. All right, so XLV, we got healthcare. Healthcare is okay right now, starting to lose a little bit of momentum, but not too much. It is consolidating, so what I want to see is if we break below 129, we can possibly have a nice breakdown here, and we can go and test a level such as 116 and then work our way down to 109, right? So something like this, we can test this and test this as well. So overall, a lot of these sectors, as you guys can see, there's a common pattern. They're starting to lose momentum, except for the defensive sectors like utilities and the basic materials are losing. But let's look at DVC here. This is commodities, right? So this makes sense. Like, this is a defensive sector. Commodities, inflation goes up, anything happens bad in the world, people need to eat, right? Things are going to get more and more expensive, right? So this makes sense that this is starting to push higher here. Commodities are at 23 right now, right? This tracks commodities. So if commodities are going up, so you're like a coffee and all these different things is going up, we're at a resistance level that was set in, you know, let's say 2012. Okay, so 2012 resistance here. So if we can get above this level here, we're going to test the 30. So possible sign that if this keeps going higher, inflation will be really up there, and things will be really expensive, right? So imagine this peaked right here in 08. So it makes sense. 08 was when the crash happened. So this is something to keep an eye on. They are picking up momentum here, commodities, and they're starting to look strong. Okay. Gold, on the other hand, is looking like it's losing momentum on the monthly, right? It's bearish here, so we'll see. It was bearish here as well, so it's interesting to see. Gold, maybe people are too, maybe people overreacted to the news in Russia with what's going on, but I'm bullish on gold as long as gold holds and closes above the 187 level. Right, this is a cup and handle formation. Okay, so this formation here, you can say this is a cup and that's a handle of the cup. Okay, that's not the prettiest cup, but so this is a cup and handle formation, and that's your handle right there. Right, so if this breaks this cup and handle formation, it can really run to the upside. It has a lot of room to go. Right, so and then the last one I want to talk about is China. China's been taking a brutal hit here, huge selling. Nothing, there's no sign of a reversal just yet. So we'll have to wait and see if we can go to the lows at 25 here. Right, guys, so this is the analysis on the overall market and the sectors and what sectors might do well. So keep an eye on those sectors. That way it gives you an indication on which sectors to follow and how to keep an eye and how to make money. So just so you don't get faked out with the market news. All right. So this is for me from today with a market analysis. You guys have a great weekend.